What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show. And we are back on our typical Monday show. Man, we have a lot of news, but the first news that I want to point out to everybody as people kind of make their way in is that Justin is unable to join. Unfortunately, I believe he's on a flight right now back from Michigan. If for those of you guys who don't know, Justin and I, we have that Michigan connection, although we didn't know each other growing up. When we lived in Michigan, we're both from Michigan. We both went home this weekend. Justin's flight was just a little bit later. So right now he's in the air and unfortunately won't be able to join the show today, but he has promised me he will 100% be back on Friday. But in his place is, and I don't want to mispronounce your last name, but we got Coby. And can you pronounce your last name?
Fehr.
Coby Fehr. And Coby is a mixed martial artist, and he's got a fight coming up this weekend, I believe on Friday, for Tough Enough. Coby, before we get into, and Tehran says, what's up, boys? Western Mass Climber says, what up? And say what's up to Coby, everybody. So, Coby, before we get into all the news, we got a ton of topics, crazy stuff happening in the UFC right now with International Fight Week. We've also got a big UFC fight night card coming up this weekend, which I'm very excited about. But before we talk about that, tell us a little bit about yourself. Justin has told me that you're an amazing fighter. Tell us about your fighting journey and where it began.
Shoot. I started wrestling when I was like 4 years old in Barberton, Ohio. Came out to Vegas like during a little bit after COVID to try to train at Extreme Couture and get like better partners and exposed to like more coaching and get influenced, I guess, kind of like find a program to buy into, really. So I came to Extreme and bought into the program over there, and then just have a lot of different coaches there, like Jake Shields, Eric Nixick, Nate Pettit, Dennis Davis. So just a lot of really good coaching. So yeah, I think the reason Justin says that is because I have good coaches and I kind of do what they taught me to do. So I'm a pretty decent athlete, so it's kind of easy when you have the right coaching, you know.
He says that he told me you mess him up when you guys spar. And by the way, we got a question from Tehran. I'm not sure if you can see the comments when I pop them up, but he's asking, what weight class do you fight in?
Oh, bantamweight.
That's crazy.
I can make flyweight too, but I just need like a lot of time. You know, like I'd need like an 8-week camp. And recently a lot of people will like pull out, like I'll get an opponent and then like 20 days out they'll pull out, or so I don't really get the luxury of having like an 8-week camp for my fights. So I kind of just got to be on standby and wait for opportunities, you know.
Absolutely. By the way, we got Celine popping in. She's saying hi to Wes and Tehran. And Celine sent us an Instagram message not too long ago saying, hey, we want, she's like, I miss it when Justin's not on the show. Celine, I'm sorry to tell you, Justin's not going to be here today once again, but we got in Justin's place, one of Justin's fighters out of Extreme Couture, Coby. And Coby, do you mind, what's your record right now as an MMA fighter?
2-0 as a pro.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what do you Tough Enough, I know, is an amazing promotion. Do you have any plans of going for the UFC anytime soon?
Well, yeah, that's obviously everyone's goal. I think I need to get to probably 4-0, 5-0 to get on the Contender Series, but I'm managed by Dominance, Ali Abdelaziz.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
So yeah, I have the right manager and the right team to. I think I could handle a fight on the Contender Series right now. But you know, you get experience from the walks, and unfortunately, I haven't had that many pro fights. A lot of people have pulled out. There's been a few times where they've asked me to fight on like 10 days notice, 14 days notice. I haven't been able to fight because of like medicals, etc.
Gotcha.
So yeah, dude, that's the goal.
Ali Abdelaziz, to me, you guys chime in the chat. Tell me what you think about Ali Abdelaziz. But to me, he's a celebrity, and because I've seen so many interviews of him. I've seen all the classic interviews with him and Ariel when they used to talk, and all the fighters that he represents talking about Islam and Habib. And man, that's got to be that's UFC and MMA royalty right there. I mean, was that like a dream come true when you got to be represented by him, or how did that process work?
Yeah, I mean, he had a a lot of guys out here like Cody Garbrandt, Javid Basharat, Patchy Mix, Dan Ige, and those are all guys I've trained with a lot. And Ali called me and he's like, brother, these guys keep telling me you're the best, you're the truth, you blah blah blah. You know, you're the most talented, blah blah blah. And then he started representing me before my pro debut.
Uh-huh. Oh,
So
wow.
it's kind of rare for Ali to sign.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say that. I was just gonna ask, like, does he do that a lot? Oh, wow. So you must be. I mean, Justin told me how talented you are, but I'm sure it's hard to talk about yourself as in terms of your caliber of fighting. But like, yeah, so it all adds up. You must be a tremendous, tremendous fighter. That's awesome. I wish I could come to your fight this Friday in Vegas. I would love to, but unfortunately, I'm flying out to Bozeman one day before Justin for Fusion Fight League. But I wish you the best of luck. So you're looking to go 4-0, 5-0, and then give a shot for the Contender Series?
That would be the goal, yeah. I mean, that's what all the sacrifices are for, you
Awesome. All
know.
right, we got a couple comments. Coby, another Midwest Ohio guy. And then Celine says, Justin is sorry he's in a flight right now. Yeah, I'm sure he's bummed that he's missing this. And then Tehran says, what exactly is Ohio? Is it really Midwest? Yeah. Ohio, Michigan. Where I grew up in Michigan, so did Justin. Ohio, Michigan, we're neighbors. We got a little rivalry with University of Ohio versus University of Michigan. That's hardcore. That's the heart of the Midwest, in my opinion. Okay, well, Coby, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. That's super cool. And maybe we can chat a little bit more about the matchup at the end of the show. But I'd love to start jumping into the topics because we got some crazy stuff happening. I haven't had a chance yet to listen to Ariel Helwani's show today because I know he's probably dropping some facts about International Fight Week and all the rumors. But the first topic is, and let me know if you can hopefully see these topics as they pop up on your screen. It appears as though, and I made a couple videos about this over the weekend, it appears as though Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev was going to be the headliner for International Fight Week on June 28th. And those were the rumors. And there's been no announcement, much to our disappointment as fans. And now people are saying, per Kevin Iole, that DDP appears to be injured and will not be able to fight on International Fight Week. First of all, I want to ask you, Coby, have you heard about this news?
No. That's
okay.
I just learned that right now.
Yeah, so DDP, it looks like very well maybe out. And it's a big bummer. Khamzat has been going back and forth with DDP online, saying he's like a BS guy. Are you a fan of Khamzat, by the way?
Yeah, I like the way he fights. Yeah.
Okay, so if you may not have seen our show, but like I am a super fan of Khamzat. He's my favorite fighter of all time. And I feel like I've been waiting since 2020, 2021 for him to get a title shot. I feel like he could have gotten one had he not gotten sick. And it's just been so disappointing how dragged out his career has been in terms of not getting a title shot. So I've been waiting. I've been so excited for him to finally get this title shot and finally show what he can do on the biggest stage because I really believe he's going to get the job done. So I'm very disappointed. That being said, we are where we are. It appears to be probably true that DD, because he's not denying it. He's not coming out and saying, no, what are you guys talking about? I'm totally fine. So I'm inclined to believe this is true. If DDP does indeed pull out, who would you like to see Khamzat fight if he does fight in International Fight Week?
Shoot. There's a lot of tough 85ers, but I don't think it really matters because it'd be sweet to see him fight Bo Nickel. Obviously, that probably won't happen. But I think that's the only guy that could give Chimaev trouble is Bo Nickel. Other than that, I think he's going to buzzsaw through anyone that they throw him because his grappling and wrestling is just too overwhelming. I don't see anyone giving him a hard time. Like look what he did to Whitaker.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, I think he'll do that to just about anyone, but they would need like a really tough Ohio or Pennsylvania wrestler or like a D1 NCAA All-American level wrestler that can strike and do jiu-jitsu to give Chimaev a hard fight. I think other than that, he's just going to cut right through him, make him probably look like a kid. to be honest.
That's what I want to hear. And that's what I believe too. Okay, before we got a comment from Tehran talking about Caio Borralho. If I always have trouble pronouncing his name.
That's a good one too. That's a good one too.
But let's talk about the DDP matchup, because I want to hear your thoughts and your opinion on this, because it sounds like you know a lot about Khamzat. What do you think goes down if and when Khamzat does fight DDP?
I think Khamzat would take him down and make him look pedestrian.
That's what I think.
Yeah, you're
gonna piss a lot of people off right now.
I really like. Okay, I see like DDP, like he blitzes, he does a lot of really slick stuff that looks awkward and unorthodox.
Right.
But it's like very effective. He's not like you see him like walking with his punches and doing stuff that you don't really see much in MMA. It almost looks like a Cuban boxer, or like just from what I see, I'm not an analyst, obviously, but he does some very crafty shit with his striking, DDP does. But unfortunately, he didn't do wrestling since he was 4 years old, I don't think. I don't know a lot about DDP as far as like his life or how he trained. But in my opinion, I see Chimaev getting in the same lead as him, whether it's ortho, or southpaw, hitting his knee, doubling off, finishing the takedown, putting Chimaev on his or putting DDP on his back, cutting through his guard, beating him up on the ground and choking him. That's just I don't bet on fights. I barely even watch fighting unless I'm like studying somebody. But to me, I think Chimaev makes him look like easy. Like, you ever seen like someone solve a Rubik's Cube in like 30 seconds? That's what I think Chimaev will do to him.
Dude, I agree with you, and I've been saying this, but people, a lot of, when I make videos specifically about DDP and the Khamzat matchup, I get a lot of people from South Africa getting mad at me and saying I'm crazy and I don't understand DDP and how good he is, and they also say like South Africans are so tough because we grew up playing rugby. You don't understand. And look, it's a fight. Anything can happen, but that I do think he's going to make it look ridiculous, and it's going to be something like that. So just to give you a little back, and I love this. This is a very technical analysis. I know you said you're not an analyst, but you're a fighter and you know the game, and this is exactly why I wanted to ask somebody like you about your thoughts. So just to give you a background on Du Plessis, he began training judo at the age of 5. So he didn't grow up wrestling, but he started wrestling at the age of 12, and then he began kickboxing at 14. And he was a kickboxing champ, I think, in K1. But that's his background. So, yes, I do think for sure Khamzat has the wrestling advantage. We've got Caio Borralho, another guy who I mentioned in a video yesterday that I made, or 2 days ago. I don't know what you think about this if he's one of your teammates. Why not throw Sean Strickland in there, maybe for an interim title? Even though I don't like the idea of an interim, I want Khamzat to just go up and finally get his title shot. But what do you think about that?
Sean versus Chimaev?
Yeah, for an interim. Like, do you like that fight? You don't have to, I know he's your teammate. You don't have to comment on like how it would go or anything, but would you be is that interest you, do you think?
I mean, anything Sean does is interesting. You know,
for sure.
I feel like Sean's a much better grappler than people realize.
For sure. Justin's told me that many times.
Yeah, like he can grapple. He's not like a folk style wrestler or like a good but for MMA wrestling, he's a super good anti-wrestler, meaning like if you try to wrestle him, he'll deny you for the most part.
Sure.
But I don't know, man. That'd be a heck of a fight. I think they've trained together. I could see Sean. I'm obviously biased because Sean's my teammate, but I could see Sean giving Chimaev a hard time. It's just that in between game where, like the up down game, like you think you're striking and then Chimaev disappears. Now he's on your legs. Now you're getting mat returned. Sean could probably throw stuff up the middle, like up the center line, teeps, a good jab. I think those things could present a hard time for Khamzat, but once you're on the ground with him, though, man, I don't know, bro. He's a bad guy. He's a bad dude on the ground. And it's MMA wrestling. Like, To be honest with you, like his freestyle wrestling, I don't know like the stats and numbers, but like Chimaev's freestyle wrestling, I don't think is like as good as everyone thinks it is. Like otherwise, he would probably be an Olympic wrestler. But the MMA wrestling is so much different than freestyle or folk style wrestling. Obviously, folk style wrestling is more applicable to MMA because you have top and bottom. In folk style, you got to get up. In freestyle, it's called parterre. You lay on your chest, you lay on your stomach. After there's a clock, after the clock goes up 10 seconds, they stand you back up. So you don't have to earn escapes. So, like some freestyle guys, they glue themselves to the mat, and I don't think that helps you for MMA the way that folk style does, where you need to stand up. Honestly, and judo's cool, but I don't think judo presents as much trouble as a great folk style wrestler. But then with the folk style wrestler, now you got to learn how to box, take punches, check kicks, counter kicks. So it's interesting, but I don't. To answer your question, I don't know how Sean's big too. Sean's a big guy. He's not like a small 85er.
Right.
He walks around swole. Like sometimes I see him at the gym. I'm like, he looks like a NFL tight end or like a third baseman in the MLB or something. You know, he's not a little guy whatsoever.
Right.
But it's just, bro, once you get on the fence or once you get on the ground with Chimaev, he's gonna start punching on you and beating the submission out of you. But I think Sean could give him a tough fight. Maybe hurt him with something up the middle or hurt him with a knee, teeps maybe.
All right,
But
we got a couple. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I would love to see that matchup, and obviously it'd be great to see Sean get paid.
It'd be and it's got some heat to it. Sean's talked a lot about Khamzat. I also like that rivalry. I like the fact that there's something to it, some meat to it. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool. We got a couple comments I want to read off real quick. Western says DDP shakes like a rainbow when he steps through on punches. That's pretty funny. Big Ankh is here, and Big Ankh says Caio versus Khamzat for the interim. Yeah, like I know people have been saying Caio versus Khamzat for the interim, but Caio's ranked 6th. I don't see why it wouldn't be a Mavov or Sean Strickland versus Caio. I don't see why they would come in front of or why they would get why they would be overstepped for Caio. That's my personal opinion, but you guys let me know. Khamzat posted a picture of him subbing Caio in training. Oh my God. Khamzat always likes to talk about training. And then I'm not going to read this name, but it says, Dricus is a wonderful guy. Much love to our South African king. Hope he recovers fast. I hope so too. I hope this fight somehow happens. We shall see. I've been devastated all weekend because I've been waiting for this fight to be announced, but it is what it is. But let's move on to topic number 2. Speaking of International Fight Week, and I know you're also under management of Ali Abdelaziz, under dominance. Obviously, you don't have to say anything if you know something that you don't want to release. But do you think, now that it seems Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev is out, do you think there's a chance that they may actually make Islam versus Ilia Topuria to save International Fight Week to have a banger main event this June?
I don't see Islam hopping on something short notice unless he's like in great shape or already in camp or something, or like within striking distance. I know Islam probably cuts a massive amount of weight. I feel like that one would probably be disappointing for fans because I shouldn't say this because I might be putting my foot in my mouth, but I think Islam would cut through him quick, like again, like another Rubik's Cube. Like I think he would just solve him. Obviously, Topuria's striking is bananas. He could grapple. He could do a little bit of everything. But when it comes down to it, I think Islam, the up-down game, I see Islam hitting him with the hard punch. Once he hits him with the hard punch, disappearing, again, taking him down. And then Islam's submission grappling is off the chain. Obviously, he can wrestle, blend it up, but like I see him catching his neck, rear naked choke, darce, anaconda, maybe a guillotine. I mean, I don't know if they would make that. I feel like they would want more time to promote it, maybe.
Who would you want to see headline International Fight Week? Let's say Islam versus Ilia is not an option. Now Dricus versus Khamzat is not an option. What would you want? And let's assume John Jones versus Aspinall is not an option because we haven't heard anything. So I'm guessing that's off the table. Who would you want to see?
I mean, to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you, dude. There's so many. There's probably a lot of options. And I know like the UFC, they know what they're doing. I don't even know where International Fight Week is. You know what I mean?
Vegas. It's in
Vegas.
Yeah. Hey, we got a comment. We got a comment from Big Ink MMA. I like this comment. People are going to get mad. He says Justin Gaethje versus Islam. Both guys are under dominance. I've said from the beginning, I love that matchup. I want to see that fight. It's a fresh matchup. Regardless of people are saying maybe Islam is going to be favored in that, heavily favored, whatever. It's still a fresh matchup. It's interesting to me. What are your thoughts?
I like Justin a lot. I've trained with him a few times. I think he's a super good dude, but the way the Dagestanis prepare, I think Islam would maul him, to be honest, but only because the way they prepare, like when you fight one of them, you're fighting like 15 to 20 of them. They have like the way they prepare, they have Olympic boxing coach, Olympic wrestling coach. Everything is so structured. I've trained with those guys a lot. I used to train a lot. Yeah, like Tagir Yulimbelikov, I helped him for the Clayton Carpenter camp, and obviously I train with the Russians when they come to town because we have the same manager.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
But the way that they prepare is like Olympic style when everyone else is almost like recreational, just kind of hoping for the best, you know? Like, yeah. And like they check your gloves, they make sure your gloves are in order. Everyone has to wear a headgear. It's so structured. It's a relay race. So you warm up, you got an Olympic boxing coach training you. Then you do 20 minutes with him. Now you go with an Olympic wrestling coach for 20 minutes. And Khabib oversees everything. So like if you're fighting one of Khabib's guys, you're fighting 15 to 20 guys and they all care. It's almost like a wrestling team. They actually have each other's back. As opposed to like, you know, like a guy like Gaethje, I think obviously he's got a puncher's chance. He hits super hard. Sure. He's a gangster. Once he bites down on his mouthpiece, I don't think he really gives a shit about like who he's got to fight. I think I'm obviously a huge fan of Gaethje and the way that he does shit. He's a risk taker. He's got balls, you know. But the Russians aren't hoping for the best. They're very calculated in what they're doing, you know.
See, I never knew this. This is so interesting. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. You keep going.
Like everyone thinks of them as wrestlers, but they're not really wrestlers, in my opinion. Even though they take a lot of people down, like they're traditional, like folk style or freestyle wrestling. Like I don't think it's that great as far as like in that individual. Like if they went to a folk style wrestling tournament in like let's say a Division III tournament, I don't think most of those guys would place. I don't even think they know how to line up. Does that make sense? Like there's a top bottom aspect of folk style. I don't think these guys have ever even done that or thought about that. They're great kickboxers and they're great like at blending all the MMA together. So they're not like, maybe they're not a great boxer. If they did boxing by itself, they probably wouldn't do so hot. If they did just kickboxing, I don't think they would do so hot. But when it's all blended up, that's when they're a problem. But they got this reputation for being like unbelievable wrestlers. And I've heard like Bo Nickel and other wrestlers talk about it and they get a lot of slack for it. People get mad at them. But most fans don't understand like the individual aspects of MMA. When you break them apart, they're so much different than when they're all together. So I could see, I don't see too many people beating Islam. He's just too good at blending it up. It's all together. Like personally, folk style Sambo is better than folk style wrestling in my opinion, as far as like it's more applicable to MMA. I never did Sambo in my life, so I'm an all-American wrestler. So like I'm just telling you my honest opinion.
For sure. And I just want to give people a heads up. People are joining right now. This is Coby Fehr Jr. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, sir.
Coby Fehr Jr., who's joining us in place of Justin today. He's got a fight at Tough Enough this Friday. He trains at Extreme Couture. He was one of the very, very few, or maybe the only fighter ever that Ali Abdelaziz's Dominance Management took onto his team under his management as an amateur, right? Or after your first pro fight?
Right after my first pro fight, I was 1-0 as a pro, and then they signed me.
So that is very rare. Obviously, Ali Abdelaziz, everybody, if you know mixed martial arts, you know the UFC, you've heard his name. He's got the most elite fighters in the game, the largest stable of fighters. So Coby is on that team. He's trained. He's telling us all these cool stories about training with Islam, training with the legendary Khabib. So this is an honor to have his insights here. We got a couple of comments. I want to post them now. This is from Rafi, who's new, I believe, to the stream here. I haven't seen that name before. Rafi, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. He says, all the haters want to see Islam lose so bad. I feel like Islam doesn't have a lot of haters. I feel like he's kind of universally loved. I could be wrong, but that's my feeling, kind of like Khabib. But it says, and if Islam does fight Topuria and beats him, then people will criticize him for beating another 45er. And that is the unfortunate reality. If he does buzzsaw him, like you said, if he blasts through Ilia, like you said, the sad part is I actually don't think he'll get as much respect as if it's like a hard-fought battle. So it's going to be tricky. If you were part of Islam's team and part of Islam's management, I mean, would you be advising him against taking that fight for that very reason and instead steering him towards Justin Gaethje? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's pros and cons to both scenarios. Obviously, yeah, like you said, if he beats up a 45er, they're like, oh, he's beating an unproven guy that hasn't fought at the weight. Da da da. I mean, if it makes money for him, then obviously it's a good play for Islam. And I don't see him. They say Topuria can wrestle, but I don't think he can. I don't think he could keep up with Islam in the.
It may be a different level. And by the way, I think people, Rafi in the comments, just saying, hey, you don't want to see Islam versus Topuria. I actually said this from the get-go. I really don't want to see it. I'd rather, I'm in the minority probably, but I'd rather see Islam versus Gaethje for that very reason. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up now is because Ilia went on the Joe Rogan podcast and seemed to insinuate that it made it sound like that fight was getting made by the UFC. And also, if they need a big fight, they are two big names. I do think it would bring a lot of buzz and excitement to International Fight Week, but that's essentially the gist of it. Now, you gave such great insights, Coby, about Khabib's team and why they're so good, how they train like a full-blown unit with all of these diverse coaches and everything. I'd love to know your thoughts as we move on to topic 3 about the fighting nerds, because we have Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates coming up this weekend. What do you know about the fighting nerds and Carlos Prates in particular?
I've trained with a few of their guys. I trained with Silva. He's a mean son of a gun. I don't know, like I haven't been around their coaches and stuff, but they look like they're doing something very similar to like the Russians and my old team, Strong Style. It's in Cleveland. It's Stipe Miocic's team. They do something very similar. Obviously, they don't have as high of caliber, like they don't have Olympians training everyone for every aspect, but they're a unit. And when you fight one guy from their team, you're fighting like multiple coaches. They're very organized. It seems to me that the fighting nerds are the same way. Like with Bryce, they knew Bryce Mitchell had a good high crotch hand exchange. He shoots a high crotch hand exchange to the double. I shouldn't even be saying this shit out loud, but because it's just I'm talking about too much technique. But he knew right away he has one entry to this leg. He's going to shoot, grab the single, and try to hand exchange over. And they shut that down immediately. You saw in the first round, he goes, grab it, grab it, grab it. I know the answer to what you.
Oh, that's what he was doing. Yeah, I remember that. He was like baiting him to tell. Oh, that's
grab it, grab it. I know this is your only entry. So he shut it down. And I'm a friend of Bryce. Like I know him.
Sure.
Obviously, I don't know why he says the shit he says. Right. I've trained with Silva a handful of times as well. Wrestled with him, grappled with him at Extreme. moved around with him a little bit. But I think like the way they can break that down and shut down the single, I think they do the same thing with striking. Uh, Garry obviously has all that experience. He's fought a lot of tough guys. He's not I don't know the caliber of the opponents that Prates has fought. I don't know like their records and all this stuff. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Prates puts him down because again, the way they prepare, like I don't know if Ian Garry has like he's probably has a nutritionist, he's probably riding a bicycle, doing shit that isn't as functional for MMA. Meanwhile, the fighting nerds are probably doing MMA every single day. You
So
know,
it's that team structure that might prove to be the difference. I think most people that I've heard when I've heard pros pick the fight, pick the winner here, I think people are leaning towards Ian Garry. By the way, Carlos Prates' last 2 victories were over the Leech, Li Jingling, and Neil Magny. So both known names, well-known names. And now he's coming in to fight Ian Garry, which I do think is a step up in competition. I want to break down the fight further because I really love to hear if it sounds like you're leaning Carlos Prates for those reasons of the team. But this was an interesting point. I and a lot of people thought gave a lot of respect to Ian Garry for taking on this Carlos Prates fight. Like there was no reason why he has to do it. He's way above him in the rankings. He's a very well-known name. It was shocking to hear that he took it, but I thought, what a G, what a legend. Justin's first response was that was a dumb move. He's like, why would he ever take that fight? What are your thoughts as a fighter, as a professional fighter?
why would Garry jump on that?
Or did you think? Yeah, did you also think it was a bad move, or do you like respect the move?
I mean, it's a gangster move. That's that's a lot of tough guy points for fighting a guy no one probably wants to fight. But is Garry on a 2-fight losing streak?
Garry, he lost. I think he's on a 1-fight losing streak because he lost to. Oh wait, am I wrong about that? I think he only lost to what's his name, Shavkat. But I could be wrong. Let me double check. Don't think he's lost twice. Yeah, he's only lost to Shavkat. He was undefeated up to Shavkat. They were both.
Did Shavkat knock him out?
No, decision. It was actually pretty close too. If you remember, like it went the distance. Ian Garry, I think, lost 3-2, if I'm not mistaken. And it was close. Like he had moments where it looked like he was really getting the better of Shavkat. I can't remember which round, but it was a very close fight.
I mean, that'll be interesting because Carlos, I don't believe as much like he doesn't have too many takedowns in his arsenal. Maybe a couple like sweeps or trips. So, I mean, they're going to stand out and bang. Probably comes down to like attributes. Gary's tall. Is Garry taller than Prates?
Oh, I assume here. Let me double check. I assume so because I know Gary's super tall. Here, let me see. He's 6'3". Prates is 6'1". Pretty close.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a stand-up battle, but I don't know what those guys. I don't know what those guys are on, but they're good, man. I feel like Prates will probably win. Maybe.
Wow.
I really do think that, but because they're gonna know they're gonna break Ian Garry down and know exactly what he does. They're gonna have people emulate Garry for him. And I think those guys are smart. Like they're living up to that fighting nerds name, And
okay, well, dude, so you guys are hearing it first. If you guys are just joining now, let me fill you in. We've got Coby Fehr in place of Justin. I know Andrew was asking, where is Justin? Justin is on a flight right now, but Coby has graciously taken a spot. He's a professional fighter, 2-0, fighting in the Tough Enough promotion, which is probably the biggest feeder into the UFC. Coby is hoping to make his debut in on the Contender Series once he reaches 4-0, and Coby is one of the only fighters ever picked up by Ali Abdelaziz's Dominance MMA after just one fight as a professional because his reputation is so grand at Extreme Couture. I mean, Justin's told me, I can say this, he doesn't care, but Justin told me that Coby fights at bantamweight, can even fight at flyweight. Justin is a full-blown lightweight that he said that Coby messes him up all the time in sparring. So I think that kind of says it all. But yeah, so we're getting amazing technical. Like I love this technical insight. I hope let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you loving it as much as I am? We got big numbers, good numbers right now on the stream, so I'm assuming so. But like, yeah, let me know what you guys think. But I love this technical analysis. So he's breaking down Prates versus Ian Garry, and he's actually picking Carlos Prates because of the strength of the team, of the Fighting Nerds team, comparing it also to Khabib's team and Islam's team and what they do together to kind of get the victories. We're going to go through a couple more comments here. Andrew Nance says, hit the likes. Yeah, that's right. Hit those likes. Hit those likes, everybody. We really appreciate it. And then, yeah, Big Ankh is also chiming in that Ian Garry only lost to Shavkat. Garry almost subbed him. Yeah, I think that was round 4 or 5. I can't remember. And we got one more comment from Ruffy. He says, I saw Topuria said that he deserves to fight for the title straight away, but he doesn't want to fight any top 5 contenders. And how can you jump ahead of all the top 5 contenders? I mean, it's a fair point, but he's such a star. You know how it goes in the UFC. If you got enough star power and what he did to Max Holloway and Volkanovski, I could see a case for it. And I'd be more open to it if Islam was vying for the fight. That's what takes it away from me in terms of wanting it to see Islam versus Topuria. If Islam's not excited about it, I'm not excited about it. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Okay, well, that's very, very interesting, everything that you gave us in terms of the Fighting Nerds and Ian Garry. Let's move on to a straight legend of the game who is having his final fight. Anthony Smith has came out after his last fight, and he said he's going to fight one more time. He didn't want his last fight to be his final performance. He was going through a lot of emotional turmoil. He's got one fight left, and then he's hanging up the gloves in this retirement fight. Let me just pull up. I didn't put his opponent's name here, but he's fighting Zhang Mingyang, who is 18-6. What are your first thoughts on Anthony Smith as a fighter and taking his final step into the octagon?
I don't know much about his opponent. Smith's like, I don't watch Smith a lot because 205er, right?
Yeah. Light heavyweight. Yep.
Yeah, I don't for some reason I don't pay that much attention to that weight class. I couldn't tell. I don't know much about that matchup, I'm gonna be honest, but obviously anytime Smith fights, he's got a chance because all the experience and yeah, I mean, he's put on a lot of great fights. He's a warrior, but I don't know his opponent whatsoever, so it's really tough to make a call.
Smith right now in his last 7, he's 2-5, losing the last 2 to Roman Dolidze, somebody who trains at Extreme Couture alongside you, and he just lost to Dominic Reyes, who we got to say Dominic Reyes is on a hot streak. He just won his last fight amazingly. Well, I didn't put on an amazing performance at UFC 314. That was incredible. So Dominic Reyes, he lost to 2 really tough fighters. Previous to that, he beat Vitor Petrino. And if we look at his opponent, here, I'm going to just pull up some stats of Zhang Mingyang. Here, let me see here. And then we can just have a interesting conversation. I mean, at this point, too, let's just talk about momentum for a second. With Anthony Smith going 2-5, does that tell you anything, or is the record almost deceiving? I mean, is it, as an MMA fighter yourself, can we make much of the fact that he's gone 2-5 for his last 7, or is it really, hey, no, I really want to know what's his training camp like this time? What's his mentality now versus before in terms of determining how he's going to perform?
Well, once you start looking like once your win percentage in the last, like, let's say like last 10 fights starts to look like a baseball batting average.
Yep.
You start, it's like, like if I'm only getting on base 2 out of 10 times, that's not a good sign in MMA, right?
For sure.
And I mean, I'm sure, I don't know how his pay goes. I don't know if it's like, if people will lose motivation because they're already in the silk sheets, or they already have a nice house and their wife's all Botoxed up, or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm not sure what causes guys to lose their motivation. I'm an old school wrestler, so like I'm gonna practice the same way if I have a fight or if I don't. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Because like that's just a standard that's given to you since you're a kid. I don't know if Anthony Smith was a wrestler growing up. I don't know too much about him, but yeah, once you start getting into like baseball batting averages, I don't think that's a good sign. So the theme will probably continue based off of like, your last 7 fights, you're 2-5. Chances are he's not gonna just magically become a new person. You know what I mean? If
I want to show you in contrast. I was looking at Zhang's record. It's crazy. So yes, it's 18-6, but look at this. He's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fight win streak. That's crazy.
They must be alley-oop and Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
Like here, just throwing an alley-oop to what's his name?
Zhang Ming Yang. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And I believe, and in the UFC, he's only 2-0 in the UFC, but he's had all these other fights in these other promotions as a professional where he's just been dominating. So, man, yeah, this might be a tough one for Anthony Smith. But yeah, 2-0 in the UFC. So I guess we shall see. Regardless of how the fight goes, I want to say, or go on the record as saying, like, I'm a fan of Anthony Smith. I love his commentary. I think he's got amazing insights. He's a really smart guy in terms of the way he breaks down fights. And I think it's cool that he wants to go out in his own way, retiring here and taking on a tough opponent. Mad respect. So I can't wait to see it. I will be watching as much as I can because we're commentating for Fusion Fight League, but I'm looking forward to that. We got a bunch of new comments. I just want to post some of these really quickly. Rafi says, brother, I'm new in this channel, but started to like your analysis. I'm not biased. Let's go. Welcome to the channel. Hope you subscribe. Join the party. We are growing. Tehran says, and that's what's killing the UFC. It's more of an entertainment industry than actual sport. Can you see these, by the way?
Yeah.
Coby, when I say, okay. He said it's more than the actual sport about who's entertaining than who actually deserves the title shot. He's talking about Ilia needing to get his feet wet. I mean, look, I don't disagree with you. I want to see Islam versus Gaethje. And MMA Joey, so many people would get super pissed off at me saying that, and they think it's a ridiculous matchup. I don't see why it's so bad. I think it's great. Andrew says, like, share, and subscribe today. Let's go. And Rafi, we were just talking about who Anthony Smith is fighting for his retirement fight, Zhang Ming Yang, if I'm pronouncing that right. And Andrew says, finding Smith a loss for his retirement fight. Oh, good job, UFC. Well, hey, you never know. It's a fight. So we shall see. And that's the beauty of the sport. Anything can happen. Anybody can win. So let's see what happens on Saturday. Okay, moving on. Are you a fan of Michel Pereira?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
right.
I see him at the gym from time to time.
Dude, okay. Do you think he's one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC? Or is that a stretch to say?
Yeah. I mean, just like Tehran was saying, it's like entertainment. So obviously when dudes are doing backflips and all kinds of like dynamic movements and shit that we haven't seen much, I think he's definitely entertaining. Yeah, I've watched him like hit pads, and some of the stuff he does, it looks really awkward, but he hits so hard and he's big. He's a big son of a gun. And for a guy that big to move the way he does, I think, yeah, it's fireworks every time, you know. If he fought in any promotion, I'd probably watch, just because you never know what he's gonna do.
I just saw a video, a short, where it said Michel Pereira is like a real life Street Fighter character, and it showed all these clips of him doing his like cartwheels and like jumping off the cage and throwing punches. He's so fun. And ever since I believe he moved up in weight, I don't know if you've talked about this. Like, how did moving up in weight help him so much? Because it seemed like as soon as he moved up in weight, he's just been on a tear. I know he's had one loss in his last fight, but before then he was on a massive fight win streak. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fight win streak. That's crazy.
Yeah, he had an 8-fight winning streak before he lost.
Yeah,
that's impressive. That's impressive. I mean, obviously, when you're cutting weight, when you're cutting down a lot, you know, you're all sucked out. It's kind of hard to perform. Then when you can have more water in your system, eat more. I mean, again, I don't watch them that much, but obviously I'll see them, like I'll see highlights or whatever. But yeah, Michel, who's he fighting?
He is fighting. I just had it pulled up. He is fighting Abus Magomedov, and Abus Magomedov. Let me tell you, he is 27-6. Abus Magomedov, and here, let me pull up his stuff here. Yeah, his last fight, he is on a 3-fight win. Wait, let me see his full thing here. 1 second. Let me pull up here. Boom. Oh. Okay, that was not the right person. Making it a fighter. Oh, he might not have a Wikipedia page. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get this in real time loaded up here. Boom. Or I'll just go to Tapology. So he is on a 2-fight winning streak. He lost to Caio. Oh, he lost to Sean Strickland. Oh, I remember that fight. I watched that fight when he lost to Sean.
To be honest with you, dog, Caio, that's how you say his name?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think that's the only guy that has any bit of a hard time for Chimaev.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I do think that. I know we're talking about Michel, but again, fighting nerds comes from a real team. He is like, he's good when it's all blended together. He does this shit where he'll like throw a head kick, occupy your hands. He'll make you think he's striking with you, then he disappears underneath. He knows to keep his head to the front hip so you can't knee him. He does a lot of slick shit. I'm telling you that if there's anyone that I think could give Chimaev, I know the ranking thing. What, Kyle's 6, Chimaev's 1, right?
Yeah. Chimaev, I think, is 1. Let me double check. And Caio is 6, but Kyle's undefeated as well. Middleweight rankings. Okay, give me a percentage. You're saying he's got a chance. He's the one that's got the best chance. Give me a percentage.
I mean, bro, I think that's a coin flip, in my opinion. But really? I'm just guessing off the technique and off of attributes. This dude's big, strong. I don't know what they're on. I don't know if they're on something that makes them like superhumans. I'm just being real.
Hey, Khamzat's 3, by the way. I was mistaken. Imavov is 1. Strickland's 2. So Khamzat's 3. So 3 versus 6, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
You think it's a coin flip?
If I'm just saying what I think based off of technique, and I mean I'm wrong a lot, you know. I usually, once I know somebody, I start being biased towards them.
Sure.
So, and then I'll start to think like somebody's winning that's losing. It's, you know, it's super hard to tell. Once you know people, you start caring about them and blah blah blah. But
of course.
But I got my money. Like, I think Chimaev can beat anyone, but Kyle versus Chimaev I think that's going to be a crazy fight. I don't know if the UFC is trying to build that at some point, but they do a lot of the same shit. Like, Kyle will throw a high kick and smash a kick into your arms, get your hands up. Once you forget about the wrestling, he disappears underneath. Chimaev does the same thing. He'll throw a big overhand. He'll put some leather on you up here. You get your hands up, boom, he's gone.
And he shoots so fast.
And it's fast. And if you watch Kyle's entries, the way he enters on his shots, it's very smart. I've been watching him for a couple years, just like that aspect of his game, how he blends it up, as opposed to, it's not his wrestling, it's not his jiu-jitsu, it's how he strikes and wrestles together. And obviously the Brazilians, I don't think, are that great of traditional wrestlers.
Sure.
But and also Kyle his coaches will know what are Chimaev's entries, what shots does he have from this stance, what shots does he have from that stance. So they'll know what he does. So it won't come down to like lack of planning.
Right.
They're gonna know this if he's in southpaw, if he's gonna be looking to do X, Y, and Z, and vice versa. So they're gonna know exactly what Chimaev's plan is to take him down, and they're gonna look to take away these entries. Kind of like when Conor McGregor versus Khabib, he beat his shoulder. He did the right thing for a moment, and then he wrestled too much, right? Like what I say when I coach, like I coach some guys in the UFC, I say, hey, don't wrestle back. You don't need to wrestle back. Like, all right, I need to anti-wrestle. You shoot a high crotch, I beat your shoulder, and then I don't wrestle back. I don't come and get an underhook and try to body lock you so that way now we're still wrestling, right?
Okay.
So a guy like Kyle will probably anti-wrestle at a very high level, but Chimaev does this shot where he hits his knees, and everyone says don't do this in MMA, but they don't know why, when, and where to do it, right? Like there is a time and place to hit your knee if you know what this person can do. Like obviously you don't want to hit your knee if you're shooting to their back hip, because if you shoot to their back hip, now you're in the center line, knees can come up the middle. But if you do this to the front hip, for the most part, you're safe. And you see Kyle do this a lot. He'll throw a big head kick, boom, now he steps into the opposite stance and then shoots his head to the front hip where it's safe.
Because the back hip, you're ready like this. You boom, you throw a power knee right from the back.
Yeah.
Right. Very interesting. I love all this technique talk, guys. Let us know in the comments what you think. And Coby, first of all, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join the show. It's been a ton of fun for me. We had actually quite a few folks on. I hope you guys are all enjoying the stream. If you do enjoy it or have been enjoying it, please click that like button right now. All the engagement really helps us out a lot. I want to read through we've had a bunch of comments come in during that last discussion. I want to read through them, and then we're going to close out the show talking again about your fight and what you expect this Friday. So, guys, once again, this is Coby Fehr. If you're joining right now, Coby Fehr Jr. He is fighting in Tough Enough. He's 2-0, undefeated as a professional fighter. We will likely be seeing him in the UFC. He's represented by Ali Abdelaziz, the famous owner of Dominance MMA, and he is again fighting under the promotion that Justin will be commentating for this Friday. So it's been a pleasure to hear all his high-level expertise. Justin has told me how this guy is going to be huge. He's going to be in the UFC. He's an incredibly talented fighter. So it's been such a pleasure. Let's get to the comments real quick. Rafi, again, a new subscriber, it seems like, to the show. He says, mark my word, right now, DDP is the only guy who can beat Khamzat. Yeah, I'll admit that he can beat him, but I don't think he will. And this is coming from a Khamzat fan. DDP is very good, very goofy, but very effective. Andrew Nance says also, yes, DDP is a beast too. Andrew Nance says the nerds showed Bryce Mitchell that they can wrestle. Yes, they did for sure. Rafi has another comment about Aspinall's channel that said Andy Aspinall said that Jones doesn't want to fight. Oh, Jones is retiring. No. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. I need to check that out. Celine says so good. What's up? There you go, Coby. She loves it. And Celine is a big Justin fan. So for her to say you're good and to have Justin not be here, that's saying something. Thank you, Celine, for that. Appreciate it. Coby, my B. And Andrew says, facts, great show. Let's effing go. And Celine, here we go at the end. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Really amazing to have Coby. Okay, let's end. Oh, Muttball's here. Hey, what's up, Muttball? He says, great episode. Before we close out, at the end, one more time, Coby, tell us about this fight on Friday and what you expect from your opponent or in this matchup.
Shoot, I expect him to be tough, and he's fought in Bellator, Karate Combat. His name's Orlando Ortega. He doesn't have the best record, but I think he's game. I think he's been around a lot of high-level guys. Used to train at Jackson Wink, so I don't think. But I think that I'm gonna beat a submission out of him. I think my wrestling and MMA skills are just superior, to be honest. Similar to up-down game, disappearing act, like touch you with some boxing and then disappear, take you down. I see a rear naked choke or some sort of ground and pound finish, maybe trapping a wrist behind his back, like they call the Dagestani handcuff or the wrist ride.
Yeah.
See something like that to a finish. Obviously, he's tall. He probably kicks hard. Probably a good striker. But I think at the end of the day, I'll grab him up and finish him. If I'm like, I respect him a lot. If I were a coach, I see potential in him. You know what I mean? If I could coach him, I would show him how to stop me.
But you are not his coach. You are his opponent.
Yeah,
so unfortunately, I guess it's gonna have to go the way it goes. We got one more comment from Andrew. He's saying LFG, let's effing go, Coby. Kick ass, bro. And there you go. I think that's a perfect way to end. Wait, what did he say? Make him tap or nap, my G. All right, there you go.
You.
So those are your well wishes as you go on your way. And Coby, I want to say thank you once again, and I wish you the best of luck this Friday. Thank you so much for joining. It seems like everybody really enjoyed your analysis. I really enjoyed it, and best of luck. And I hope to see you on Contender Series and in the UFC very soon. Thank you guys all so much for joining. We really appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, click that like button. We really appreciate it. As I've mentioned many times, it helps tremendously. We're growing very fast right now, and this will only add fuel to the fire. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you at our next episode on Friday at 1:30 p.m. PST. Thank you, and take it easy.